G'day guys, welcome to another video. Now, what am I doing for you today? I decided that I want to try and pull out a supply that I don't use regularly. We all have things in our stash that we don't pull out as often as we probably should, considering the amount of money we spent on it. There's things that we probably have forgotten how much we spent on it, and there's things that we use, then we go, hang on a minute, like these pencils. These are my FABER-CASTELL. They're called Art Grip Aquarelle pencils. They're watercolor pencils, basically. Now, I forgot how buttery and soft they are, and pigment payoff is awesome. Now, I will be honest with you, I have actually ordered the new Tim Holtz woodless pencil. Woodless, is that what they call them? Woodless pencil. I can't remember what they're called, but the new Tim Holtz ones. So watercolor pencils. I've ordered those, and I've got to say, I'm chomping at the bit to get my hands on them, but that's okay. They will most likely not appear on my channel until after Christmas, because I think that's going to be my Christmas present to myself. So basically what I decided to do, you know that I love shapes. Shapes to me can be you can use it in so many different ways. Circles, squares, hexagons, triangles, you can do anything with it. So what I decided to do, I pulled out my Creative Memories circle cutting system, mainly because it's all different sizes and it saved me looking for things to trace around. But you could use anything. You could use water bottles, you could use cups, plates, bowls, you could use Tupperware containers, you could use your tape, you know, your tape that's on a roll, your tear tape, you could use that. You could use anything in your collection to trace around, because it doesn't damage it. Whatever you're using, it doesn't damage it. Apologies, I'm really thirsty. I've just had to take my daughter to the hospital and get her blood work done. If you're new to my channel, I have, and I do have her permission to say this stuff. One of my children actually has ulcerative colitis, and if you don't know what that is, it's very, very similar to Crohn's disease, and unfortunately there's no cure for it, so there's only treatment for it at this stage. We're hoping in the years to come, with funding and so forth and research, etc., that hopefully there will become a cure for it, and the medications that poor Ange has to take, you know, hopefully we can minimize that as she gets older. But we had to get our blood work done. She's been on a heavy dose of steroids for the last 9 weeks. So they're finished now. So let's hope the blood work and all the other tests that she's had to do, hopefully they all come back and they all say everything's sweet, we don't need any more medications, and we definitely don't have to look at methotrexate. That would be fantastic, because I take methotrexate and I would really prefer my children not ever to have to take it. So it's not very nice stuff. But with my autoimmune disease, unfortunately, it's essential for me to be able to continue to do what I do and live, and it got me back in my craft room, so I am happy. Now, all I'm doing here whilst I'm waffling on about my day is I've traced the circles with colored pencils, right? Now, because they're water reactive, they're watercolor pencils, you can just add a little tiny bit of water and they turn into almost a watercolor. So you can do whatever you want with it. Now, this is one way of using these pencils, right? But if you keep watching, I'll show you how I also use them. And these things are awesome. I forgot how much I love these things. And to be honest with you, I just had so much fun playing when I pulled this out. And just recently I bought the Aldi version of these pencils. And they also they're really good as well. I'm half expecting the Tim Holtz ones. I think the reason, okay, so I have to, you're going to think I'm crazy because I've got all these watercolor pencils. Okay, so what I actually did is I bought the FABER-CASTELL ones first. These ones that I'm using here. I bought these first, and I bought them several years ago. And see how I'm just touching the tip of the pencil there with the water, and it adds the color to the tip of the paintbrush. Is this my favorite paintbrush in the whole world? Heck no. But it's allowing me for video purposes not to have to keep going back to a water source. So it's just not my favorite way of laying color down with one of these water brushes. It's just not me. If it works for you, you do you. That's absolutely, without a question, go for it. I just personally find that my Montmartre watercolor brushes are the best. They are the best. I love them. Are they artist quality? No, I wouldn't say they. I wouldn't say they're crap either. They're not. They're not the worst that I've ever had, but yeah, I prefer my Montmartre watercolor brushes. And I mean, I'm sure, you know, you can go up the line and you can spend a fortune on these things, but I've found a really happy medium with my Montmartre products. And sorry, I am getting messages through on my phone as I'm doing this, and I'm trying not to be rude and just continue to record, but sometimes you just have to answer calls. And it was actually my daughter. She was down at the shops. She's like, Mum, do you really want this? I'll get you this for Christmas, and I'll do this for Christmas. And I'm like, yes, yes. And while she was down there, sorry if you can hear that plane going through. Today is quite warm. It's warming up, and I've still got my window open. Even though I'm recording this, I'm crossing my fingers that sirens don't go off or anything like that, and we can get through this recording with my window open, letting some cool air in. As you can hear me drinking my ice cold water. So I got up super early this morning. I was up at 4 o'clock. I don't know what is going on with my body clock. I swear to God. I think it's that perimenopausal stage. Am I right, ladies? Anyone with me? Anyone going through this with me? Whew. It's a bit of a kicker. But, so I was up at 4 this morning. So I started a page because I can't really do a voiceover when 3 other people are at this end of the house trying to sleep at 4 a.m. So, yeah, that's all right. It's all good. So I got started on another page, and what else did we do on the weekend? We put our Christmas tree up on the weekend. That was really exciting. When I say on the weekend, it was obviously, by the time this video goes up, it was X amount of time ago. But yeah, so this week's going to be super busy, slightly crazy, very hectic, but we've got hospital appointments, so I've got to go into the city at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If I've got any parents out there, or even yourself, and you have any health conditions, how much do you detest having to drive into, when I say the city, like I'm talking the big smoke, I'm talking not just into town that's 5 minutes away. For me to go in to see Angela specialists, I have to drive into Brisbane. Now, from where I live, that's an hour, but the traffic coming out of the centre of Brisbane at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, to say it's horrible, slight understatement. Just saying. I really wish. And it's the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, you need to see the specialist, and they need to be available whenever. So, all right. So this piece that I've got here, I put some texture paste on it. I used the light and fluffy texture paste, and see, I'm just grabbing a bit of color off the end of the pencil and just painting it around the edge. See how I started the circles on this? This was my first run at doing the page that I'm doing. I don't know why I put the texture paste down first, because that is not what I had in my head. But can you see the circles? They were working, but it was really difficult, and it wasn't really going to be very fun. So I don't want to do something just for the sake of doing it. I want to do it because it's fun. I want to do it because I'm using mediums that I don't use all the time. I actually want in 2023, I actually want to do a series of pulling out a product. It might be like I did a thing that will, like here, you know, pull out the watercolor pencils, do a page. Pull out, I can see so many things that I have not touched in so long. Honestly, some of it, I don't even know if it's going to even be any good anymore. So 2023, I want to let me know below if this is something that you would be into. Pulling out a product, you can add it to some new stuff that you've just bought to create a page. You could use that solely on a page. It could be anything, like absolutely anything. I've got stamps that I haven't used, cutting systems I haven't used. I've got embossing tools. I've not made an envelope in I don't know how long. I'm just having a quick glance around. My crackle paste, I haven't used that in forever. I haven't used, what else haven't I used? I've been pulling things out a little bit more lately. But my lettering stamps, I'm not the best with stamp lettering, but I do have an idea in my head to use them, so I will pull them out. These are things that we buy with all intentions of using lots of, and we don't use it. Okay, so on the back of my photos, I've added, these are just offcuts that I made ages ago when I put through some foam, sticky back foam through my die cutting machine, and it was just leftovers and I needed to raise this bit up, so I used that. Why not? So when you bring the photos back over the top, it's kind of bubbles on top of bubbles on top of bubbles, but I've used the same colors and I think it looks really cool. Now, I wanted to bring in a dark border, but I didn't want to bring in black. Okay, it's called black soot, but it's not it's not jet black. This is my distress oxide that I'm using, and I'm doing my washi tape technique to give myself a little border up the side, just so I've got that finished edge, especially with the bubbles, because they're going off the edge. You kind of need that to ground the whole page. It needs that to, yeah, that's my theory. So then I run around the outside edge of my bubbles, my texture paste bubbles, and that just helps separate it from the rest of the page. See how it pops it up a little bit? Now, I don't physically pop this up. I pop the photo up off the texture paste, but this I'm just putting straight down on top of this. Now, the reason I used the double-sided tape, the tear tape, but the reason I put some glue on there is because there is gesso in the background. Now, it was at this point, this is actually the following day, I came back to it because, you know, mummy business. I had to go and do some of that. So I pulled out just another scrap. These are my scraps that I just keep to the side because quite often I do things with shapes and whatnot, and I can just punch out some shapes out of my scraps. It just makes sure that you don't waste your supplies where possible. And yeah, so I'm just going to use my watercolor brush again, and I wanted to create some bubbles, but it was looking a bit too flat for me, so I wanted to create some that I could actually raise up. So this is what I'm doing. As you can see, look at the pigment that you get with this when you do it like that. Like, it just, these pencils, if you don't have the money to buy the Tim Holtz ones, but you really want to have a play and get good results, first of all, the Aldi ones, they're awesome. They have great color payoff. They're fantastic. But obviously Aldi don't have these things in stock all the time. My second go-to would definitely be these FABER-CASTELL ones. I bought these from, I think I got them from Spotlight. I think it was Spotlight I bought them from. in the pens and pencil, like in the drawing section, not the kids section. It was in the drawing section. They're awesome. So then I got to this point and I'm like, okay, circles, no. We're just going to go with the squares on the background, on the back of them, and a little bit of foam tape, and it'll pop them up off the surface, and it just gives you more depth. So just because you are creating a layout with circles, it doesn't mean that it can't look cool. Sorry, I'm so dry. Okay, so, well, Gizmo's joining me, no one else is. You right there, buddy? You're good? Excellent. Good stuff. So, all right. Now, so what are you guys doing for Christmas? Do you do anything exciting? Are you, like most people, you know, crazy, busy, hectic, over the top, eat too much, blah, blah, blah? Or are you more reserved with yourself and enjoy the festivities for like a good week? We kind of do that, sort of from Christmas right through until New Year. Because my husband has holidays then, so that's really beneficial for us, and we just chillax. So where I just pointed there, that's where I'm putting my title. Now, you need to watch this for a laugh. Are you ready for a laugh? You know how I always say that I put things out there, good, bad, and the ugly. Right. You're about to witness how do I word this? How I would normally word this is not how I can word this on YouTube. Okay, so I can knock things over and look so ridiculously uncoordinated sometimes. And let's just say that's about to happen. Have a look over on Facebook for the photos, because I pulled this out thinking I'm going to use some embossing on these stickers. Now, I sort of went on a bit of a tangent, and I thought, I wonder if I could do flocking on these. Like, that would be really cool. So I put a bit of glue down, and look what I just did. If only you could see how much flocking powder went everywhere. This stuff, you think you can make a nice nightmare with embossing powder? Baby, you got nothing on this. I am literally trying to, right now, I'm trying to get it off my arm. It went everywhere. So the old gesso brush, it comes in handy to dust it off. And yeah, it was not good. And just FYI, no, don't use glue, because the flocking doesn't work on that. So then I went back to what my original idea was. These stickers, the reason I changed these up and I use a bit of embossing powder or whatever to change up the letters is because they're not very sticky. They're old. They were like $2 in a chuck out bin, but the letter's there, the shape, the letter, the depth, it's all there. Just change it to suit yourself. If you buy letters and you see yourself going, okay, this isn't working, these are green and I really needed white letters, guess what? Use your embossing powder. And I am going to, right here, right now, I'm going to throw it out there. All embossing powders are not created equal. I have had myself a little bit of a play with, so this is the blue one, right? So what I'm actually trying to do on these letters, I didn't want them to be solid blue and I didn't want them to be solid white. I wanted them, and I obviously didn't want black. So I go through, now see how my paper's not moving? Do you want to know why? Because it's wax paper, and as soon as you heat it up, it grabs onto the microfiber cloth underneath, and it's awesome. And it just peels right off, doesn't damage anything, but it holds it for you. So it's like another little hand. And so it's at this point that I've never ever used my Hero Arts white embossing powder. To say that I need to get me more of the Hero Arts ones and move on from the Crafter's Choice, that's what I'm doing in the future. Yes, it'll be an investment because they're not the cheapest ones out there, but the white is truly white. Whereas I went over them all with the Crafter's Choice one and you could still see the lines through it. But as you can see, I just took photos of that. So that will be up on Facebook for you. And yeah, it's going to work really, really well. So all you have to do, now this is a little bit fiddly. Okay, it's not hard, it's not difficult, it's just fiddly. So if you can handle fiddly, then this is a technique for you. So I peeled all these off the wax paper because obviously, as I said, heating up the wax paper, it's sort of, the wax sticks to it kind of thing, but it peels right off. So then what I do is I just go around and I just use a pair of my pointy nose scissors, and not my Tim Holtz ones. I use just a pair of these were my go-to scissors for so long. Don't even know where I got them from, but I loved them, and they're still as sharp as the day I got them. But whenever I have to do, I want to do some distressing on the side of something, I always use these scissors because they've got a really square edge on them, and it's really good for that. So as you can see, I'm just peeling off the excess off the edges, and it turns out these letters just look so good. I absolutely love how they turned out. Now I'm keeping them in order because can you imagine if I put this on here? And I did have an issue. So as you can see, I'm putting the word practicing down. I couldn't work out if it was spelt right or spelt wrong. The US spells it with an S. Us in Australia, we spell it with a C. So I think that's where I was coming unstuck. I think that's where I was like, is it right? Is it wrong? And I'm gluing all these down with my art glitter glue because it's absolutely awesome. I absolutely love it. And yeah, that's about it. So to make it sticky, I use my VERSAMARK ink. You can actually buy those VERSAMARK ink pads. You can buy them in a 1-inch cube. So if you have a very tiny storage space, but you really want to try embossing and you want to give it a go, you can buy those ink pads in a smaller version. You can also buy them in a pen as well. So you can draw it straight onto your page, which is really good. So all I'm doing now is going around with my white Uniball Signo broad pen and adding some movement all on the one side. So the trick to doing this is, so essentially what I'm putting on there is where the light source is going through or reflecting off, whichever way you want to see it. Are they balloons? Are they balls? They're just circles? They're whatever you want to call it. But put them all on the same side. Don't sort of go all over the place, and that way it looks more natural. So there's my page, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I am going to do the shameless plug right now. I know there's a stack of you not subscribed to my channel, and I know there's a lot of you that are, and thank you so, so much. I have reached my 1,000 subscribers, and to say that I'm excited and so happy, I'm just beside myself. It is amazing. I am planning on giving a 1,500K, 1.5K. 50. When I get to 1,500, I'm going to have a big giveaway again. So it's going to be bigger than what it was last time. So if you aren't subscribed, jump on board. Subscribe, because I want to have this giveaway by March at the latest. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye for now.